Paul, thank you very much for joining us. I just thought I'd ask you a few quick questions really about how you went from working in Michelin-star restaurants to opening up something like this really, so just a little bit about how you got here.
Okay. All my career was spent doing fine dining, and that was all I ever wanted from the moment I walked in the kitchen. If I'm honest, wasn't to become rich, it was to win a Michelin star.
Okay.
That's what I wanted.
So that was
and
the
to be
aim
honest,
from the start.
yeah, and every chef does.
Yeah.
To be really honest, I don't think young chefs dream of wealth and fortune. Certainly, we didn't used to talk about it then. It was much more geared towards being a brilliant chef and being talked about and being revered.
But do you think that's because that's the recognition that chefs got, whereas the restaurateurs were the ones that used to
I think it's because we were a motivated, ambitious bunch, and it wasn't about the money. It was because all of us were on rubbish money and working very long hours. But it was all about the sort of the glamour and the pride of achieving a Michelin star.
So how did you move?
When I got it, well, so when I got the star, and then I left that restaurant and went to another restaurant and re-got it. It sort of felt a little bit like I'd kind of shed that desire. I felt, and it coincided almost perfectly with having children.
Okay.
Or at least it coincided perfectly with my children coming of an age where food became a topic of conversation. And quite often a topic of argument as well, because all the normal, I'm not going to eat that, yes you are, no, no I'm not. And I think I just started to look at food in a very different light, and suddenly started realising that food was more about, that real food was what people ate at home, not what they went out to eat in restaurants. That is highly manufactured manufactured with inverted commas. The whole occasion is manufactured, whereas a lunch or a midweek supper or even mates coming around on a Saturday, that's not manufactured, that's life, that's
what we
real
do,
food, that's what we do, yeah, exactly. So I think I just started to see it that way. And also, from a financial point of view, there's no way I could afford it to buy a fancy pants restaurant. I mean, even if I wanted to, it wasn't going to happen. I had to be realistic. I didn't want to take on an investor and be told what to do. So it was always going to be me and someone else in the bank, and that's what this place is.
And didn't you do somewhere else that was a pub before? So this wasn't the first pub?
Well, it was the first one I owned.
Okay.
The one before that you're referring to was called The Farm, and it was in Fulham. And I suppose consultant maybe. So I had a real interest in the place doing well, but I didn't have a financial stake.
But you weren't there day to day, it wasn't your baby then?
No, not like this. So I think it was just me changing really. I also got very involved with a couple of charities that deal with food. I just think that food is at that very high level is a little bit out of most people's grasp, and I want to be a chef that caters for the masses, not the elite, if you see what I mean.
And so that's what you're doing here. It's trying to make.
I'm a socialist chef.
And then also the other thing I was just found out, which I should have known really already, is that you wrote a book about allotment and growing your own food. Now we've got an allotment, so that was quite interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, that happened just before. I suppose a couple of years before this place. And that was a direct result of seeing my children grow up as real Londoners. I had an outside of London childhood. I remember going to my grandparents' house. They were totally self-sufficient. Everything was grown. I'd go and pull the potatoes, I'd pick the raspberries, I'd pick the blackcurrants, and then I'd go in with my granny and make the blackcurrant jams, like blackcurrant falls, and it's very idyllic, but it was true. That's what we did every Sunday. And
but I suppose growing up in London, the kids.
I gave birth to Chas and Dave. It was a nightmare. But it was no fault of their own, and I just felt that their reluctance to be adventurous with food and their reluctance to particularly any green food was partly because they just didn't get it. And so I thought, we'll get an allotment and they will see all these things growing and they'll become involved. And
Did they get really
No,
involved?
they couldn't stand it. I had to either bribe them to go to the allotment, or I would literally drag them to the allotment. When we took it on, I suppose about 9 and 7, maybe.
So we used to quite often plant stuff in my mum's garden. There'd be a little corner that we'd get.
Oh, and I really enjoyed it as well. I say that, I mean, the book, I then decided to write a book about the experience. And at first I thought this was going to be a book that was, you know, this amazing journey to this idyllic vegetable heaven. And it wasn't. But actually I think the book is far better because it is about everybody's, you know, what happens to everybody, you know. Arguments and refusals. Are you still growing your own now then, or did well, only at home because this place is now way too time consuming.
And where do you get the veg and the produce for this place then? Obviously you're not able to produce.
We use a couple of farms. We use Watts Farm down in Kent. We also use a couple of specific farms for specific things. Most of our beef comes from Devon. Most of our fish comes from Harbourside markets. I would say that probably the biggest sort of message that we have here is our policy of purchasing and our approach to ethical. I know that it does sound a bit woolly and a bit, you know, a bit like everybody's saying it, but we do take that very seriously.
So what should we have tonight? What's the thing that you're going to recommend?
Oh my word, it depends how adventurous you are.
I eat everything pretty much.
I would
don't
like...
use aniseed.
You don't eat aniseed?
No, it's disgusting stuff. It should be banned. It should be banned from the planet.
What, licorice as well?
Yeah. And fennel's pretty close.
Borderline.
Yeah, borderline.
Is it really? See, I really like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But other than that, what should
Other than that, we've got no aniseed dishes on.
Excellent, that's what
particularly, we sneak a bit in it here. Well, I'd like someone to eat the rabbit. I've just done a staff briefing. We've got this special with rabbit and morels on tonight, right? And it's not, the guys won't be comfortable selling that because they will think that people won't want to buy it. So they'll be reluctant to sort of enthuse, and also they don't necessarily understand it. But I would like to sell that. We're doing that with charred broccoli, so we sort of almost burn the broccoli in the pan. Morels, rabbit liver, rabbit loin, a couple of crisps, and a little apple emulsion. So that's all right. That's all right. I think the lamb is probably one of our best dishes at the moment. We're doing the breast of lamb, which is one of the sort of underused cuts. You know, it doesn't get used enough. I would imagine most butchers just mix it up because with dog food or something. So the breast of lamb is good. We do a very sort of Italian fish stew. We just call it burrito, which is tomatoes and fish. So yeah, there's lots of things on. We change the menu quite a lot. You know, it's one of the things I like about this environment is it's nothing's too precious. You know, you can put a dish on. If it doesn't work, you can go, oh shit, it didn't work. Let's change it. Whereas at the greenhouse, once you've got a style, you're so scared of changing anything. Yeah, we get loads of feedback. I mean, which is good on one hand, and a bit of a pain in the arse, you know, because they will literally grab me from the kitchen and start bending my ear about, you know, why don't you do it like this, and why don't you do it like that, and you have to smile and say, yeah, okay, we'll give it, you know, we'll do that. Because we have so many regulars.
Yeah, but I was going to say, because this is a very neighbourhood place, isn't it?
God, yeah. I mean, if we upset the neighbours, you know, the locality, we wouldn't be a business. We survive because of their return business. So we're really conscious that you know, we have to bend over backwards. They're quite a demanding lot around here as well, because I think it's quite a middle class area. There's a lot of money, and I think they are used to also eating out at very good restaurants.
And presumably they know your name and they think, well, actually he knows what he's doing, so it should be quality.
Maybe they do. Maybe they do. I don't know. I mean, I'm not the most famous chef, but I think they know that we're putting ourselves on a pedestal, and some of them would like to knock us off maybe, but most of them I think quite like having us here, and they're quite proud of us. So they're a good bunch overall.
Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.